Welcome to the HAYVN Hubcast, a place to learn what business leaders, owners, and professionals are doing to navigate and grow in today's market. Hear from industry experts on everything from marketing, leadership, financing, and more. Brought to you by HAYVN, a co-working space where you can connect, create, and get stuff done.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the HAYVN Hubcast. I'm your host, Nancy Sheed, and today we are speaking with and hearing from Megan Palmer Rivera. Welcome, Megan.
Thanks for having me.
For those of you who are not from this area, Megan is the CEO of Palmer's Market and Palmer's Catering Events. And if you noticed, her middle name or her maiden name is Palmer. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about family businesses. Megan, you're fifth generation in your family to be in this business.
I am, yes.
Holy moly. That's no pressure. No pressure. Well, then, if you don't mind, take us back to maybe when you were in middle school that you knew this was your future, or what was your take on the family business back when you were younger?
So, yeah, I grew up working in the family business. My mom had started our flower shop and our giftware business. So she had come into this grocery business and found her own little niche. So she shared that with me, and I would come in and help her make flower baskets and stuff. And that was kind of the same thing for me. I fell in love with cooking. So I started up my own little cake business when I was 15 and started delivering cakes to our neighbors. And my parents were like, you could be a chef if you wanted to. So I graduated early from high school, went to culinary school, then I went to pastry school. And then I had this amazing opportunity to open my bakery inside of our family's gourmet supermarket. So I was able to bring my own passion and my own skill set to our store, which was really fun.
Okay. So it was from an early age. This wasn't a kind of crazy pivot. This was kind of like on track. So you were launching your own business, but with some environment and some sort of, I don't know, I wouldn't say that it wasn't without risk, but you kind of had some stability around you. How was that different, good and bad, in terms of when you launched the bakery with that kind of support versus if you had to go and do it on your own? But I would assume you still have to do market research. You still have to sort of do a lot of the same things in launching a new business.
Yeah. I mean, I was obviously very, very privileged to be able to do it inside of the safety of an established business. I was only 21 when I was 21 when we opened the bakery. I was at the top of my class for pastry. I was a talented pastry chef, but I had no real world experience other than my culinary externships. And then I had no management experience. So there was a lot of faith and trust put in by my family. And I kind of figured it out as I went along, and our customers were so amazing. They supported me and told me what they loved and what they didn't like. And I feel like the bakery kind of evolved, kind of grew up with me, which was amazing. Would I have been able to go out into the world and open a store on my own? I mean, I don't know where I would have gotten the financing from when I was 21. Would have been a lot scarier. So it was a huge privilege to be able to be part of my family's business.
I was going to say, but at the same time, to your point, as you grew up, but you're still probably ultimately having to look, and your role certainly now, but looking at sales numbers and and even though you were baking and it was more inventory, I would assume, where did you get advice from? I mean, it sounds like it was baptism by fire, but in terms of the family support, did somebody have more financial expertise? Did somebody have more management expertise? Or did you go outside your family because maybe you wanted to do something differently?
So I would say all of those things. I think so the way our departments work is they are their own kind of business within a business. So they're their own profit center. So I was running my own little profit center, and my mom, my grandfather, they were the ones who really taught me about how to run a department, how to do inventory, pricing, all that good stuff. On the leadership side, I will say that it's interesting, right? You go to culinary school, or you go to pastry school, or you go to whatever kind of school, and you learn how to do this skill set. But people don't really teach you how to manage and how to lead. Mm-mm. And that has been the one thing that I really had to go out and learn. And that's what I've spent the second half of my career doing. I always say the first half of my career, I spent making things, and I was so focused on our customers. I made this beautiful dessert for the customer. And that was where I got my joy from. And then as I got further into my career and I started managing people, it was getting your joy from helping others grow and helping them create these amazing experiences. So that I have done a lot of external learning and leadership training. And that's been a skill I really needed to develop because it's such an important one.
And I would assume that also is sort of what carried you then to shifting into being CEO of Palmer's Market and the catering and the events. I'm just sort of, I hate to be cliche, but the passing on the torch to the next generation. That is a lot of managing. That is a lot of responsibility. How do you stay creative? How do you still get to sort of be involved kind of at the part where you came in? Or do you not? I'm just curious, like, where does that fun part come in?
So I still am like number one taste tester. So I was actually just in meetings talking about like our next photo shoot and tasting.
Awesome.
So I get that's really where I get to exercise my creativity and passion. But I will say that managing is the most amazing thing I've ever done. It is so rewarding. I thought that loving our customers was where I started, but I think that loving our team, I can make so much more of an impact. You know, we have 250 employees now, and it's a privilege to be able to lead our company, to be able to create a place where people feel safe and get to make friends and learn and grow and buy houses. And like being able to watch our team and create more opportunities for them is like my new, like it's my jam now. It feels really, really wonderful. And it's like just awesome to get to work with people that you love.
I love that part. And you're making it sound a lot more fun than I feel like most of us feel about managing people. So that is good to hear. And then Megan, in terms of being the CEO, I mean, it's a family business. It's a slightly different perspective than being part of a franchise or a chain and having different numbers. I would assume you also have to bring in family values and certain culture into the family business. What does that look like? Do you realign? Are you sort of using the family values and culture that was 100 years ago? How do you all kind of stay relevant or go back and make sure you're staying in alignment with that part of your work?
Yeah, I would say I think what will probably end up being my legacy at the store is that when I came in, we didn't have values written down. This year, we're celebrating 104 years in business. But when I started, like, we didn't really have, like, there was no like meeting agendas. There was like meetings were like happened when you were like passing your family member in the hallway or down the aisle.
Got it.
So I've added a lot of structure because I think it's really important as we grow. And as the further we get from the founders, like I knew my great grandparents, but my children, like my grandfather had already passed away when they were born. So how do we make sure that the company doesn't get diluted? Very few companies make it to fifth generation. How do we preserve this for the next 100 years? That's what I think about. So I have done a lot of work looking back on our history and distilling like what were our core values from the beginning, what is still important to us, but that also allows us the flexibility to make sure that we continue to update and innovate and be current in another 50 years. And so I've done a lot of work on that. And then I always say the biggest risk to our business is our family. We've got incredible customers. It's true. I mean, that's why family businesses fail. They fail because of the family and because families aren't aligned and there's no clarity. So I've done a lot of work on that area as well of what does it mean to be a family member? Like, what are our family values? How do we act in the business? And I always say, like, I feel like I will always be a caretaker of our business, not an owner. And that's a really important distinction, right? Like an owner can sell that business. They can, just be in it for the profit. Whereas a caretaker, like it is my job to care for our employees, to care for our community, and to care for our customers. And we want family members that the next generation that joins us to have that same mentality.
Yeah. I love that you use the word legacy. It fits so well with the caretaking, right? Like this is the imprint or the impact that I had in my time here as I'm passing it on to the next one. And Megan, it sounds like you're not staying limited just to the Darien area. It sounds like you're not staying limited just to the market and the catering and the events, which are all sort of growth potential. Can you speak a little bit about your newest enterprise, which has just opened, but been a long time coming, sort of?
Yeah. So we've really outgrown our building at Palmer's. As I have created the bakery, created the catering company and our Gourmet to Go line, we kind of just like grew out of Palmer's and we just built a brand new commissary kitchen in Stamford about 5 minutes down the road, which was a learning process for me. I've never built a new space before. The permitting process was an absolute nightmare. It took us 5 months to get permits. Stamford is very, very particular. So I learned a lot about what I didn't budget for up front as well. But we just opened it. We've been open for about a month now, and it's going to give us the opportunity to really be able to expand. So we moved all of our production for all of our culinary production from Palmer's Market into this new space. And the idea is that we will hopefully be able to move into some other towns in the near future. So not the same format. It won't be another exact copy of Palmer's Market, not another full supermarket, but we have some ideas. And then we also just needed expanded capabilities to be able to take on more events for Gourmet to Go and for our offsite catering.
Nice. And when you say commissary kitchen, is that the back end, or is the commissary kitchen open to somebody to come and walk off the street? How does that look and work in terms of when we used to go into Palmer's or you placed your catering order? How is that going to be different?
So the commissary kitchen is mostly a production facility. We do have a tasting room. So for weddings, for larger corporate events, we do bring clients in for tastings, but it's not just generally open to the public. It really is like our next step for growth. We needed that expanded production. If we were to open another location, all of the food would come out of one centralized location. And that's something that's been really important to us is we're not growing for the sake of growth. One of my main factors for growing is that there are tons of customers in Fairfield County who say, I wish you were closer to us. And then second is I have a really incredible team. One of the problems with making an incredible team is that they trust you now to provide more opportunity for them. And if I don't continue to grow the business, I will probably lose people eventually. You educate them, you create this amazing place to grow. They want to continue to push their own limits. So that's really my impetus for growth, is to meet our customers' needs and to also meet our team's needs. But I want to be very strategic about it and make sure that we don't lose any quality. And that's also been really part of it, is quantifying our values. And then building this commissary kitchen is making sure that we can still we're not going to be like one of these stores where they ship their food across the country. We will always stay very, very close. And we want to make sure that we are still putting just as much love, the same quality ingredients, and that you are going to get the same taste, whether we're in Greenwich or Westport or Darien. It's going to be this amazing handmade quiche by Rodrigo or one of our fabulous.
I was going to say, it just means more homemade chips, right? It just means more homemade potato chips.
We just got a bigger fryer. We didn't have enough room for the bigger fryer at Palmer's Market. Yeah.
I won't feel guilty when I buy 2 bags. Megan, you mentioned the quality not changing and sort of being consistent. Can I sort of stretch to in this day and age of DoorDash and doing stuff on your phone and not kind of being connected or being disconnected, and yet here you are, a family business with a very local location. How have you tried to manage the technology and the instant gratification with what you all do that takes a lot of love and care and can't necessarily be done in an instant, and just sort of managing these two expectations of quality and instant gratification?
Totally. I think that knowing who you are is really important, right? Because there's all these cool, fun things that are coming down the pipeline. And I think knowing who you are is really important. We will never have automated checkout registers because we really value human interaction. And we one of the things that makes Palmer special is that we do, we pack your grocery bags for you. We have a cashier who will engage you in conversation. We'll never pre-slice your deli meat. We have amazing team members who will ask you exactly how you want it sliced, and they're going to slice that one slice and they're going to show it to you and make sure it's perfect. And we are not everyone's cup of tea. And I think that that's important to note, right? If you are a 100% value-based customer and that's all you care about is getting the cheapest product, you don't necessarily care about, then you're not going to shop at Palmer's. Not that we aren't value-oriented. We are competitive on all of our main items, but when you come in, you don't usually buy the Barilla pasta. You buy the amazing manicaretti pasta from Italy, and you're you're not just buying your basic. Yes, you can get all your basics with us, but people shop with us because they feel like family when they walk in the door, because they're greeted, because they're treated well, because the parking is easy. It's so much more than just a transaction. I think that if you want a transaction, you order your groceries online. Right. If you want a relationship, you shop at Palmer's.
I love that. And that segues into the sort of next question I was going to have about relationships in the community, right? You've predominantly been based in one area, and growing, expanding it as you can. What's been your philosophy about either being a community leader, whether as the business of Palmer's or as you and your family members? Have you sort of put a stake in the claim of this is how we give back, or this is what's important to us? Or I also know that you probably get hit up a gazillion times a day for, could you donate this? Could you donate this? And wanting to be a good team sport. How in your legacy and thinking about the impact you're having, has that changed under your leadership, or are you continuing a philosophy that maybe has been part of the 100 years you've been open?
So I would say I'm continuing a legacy of giving back to our community. My great-grandmother, Olga Palmer, was very, very active in the community. And we say that she kind of was the one who, one of our values is responsibility. We only have 4 values. One of them is responsibility to care for our team and care for our customers and care for our community. And we do have a large budget for giving back to the community. My cousin Nina, who joined the company a few years ago, her main job is caring for our team. So she oversees a lot of our culture initiatives and then dealing with all of our community partnerships, because we do get a lot of donations. And most of the time we say yes. We support all the local nonprofits and we support the schools. And that's going to be an important part of another part of our mission for growth is if we're going to go into these towns, whatever town we move into, one of the first things we're going to do is go there and meet these people and find out what they're looking for and what charities are important to them and how we can support them, because that is really, really foundational to what we do. And I think that also sets us apart, right? When a big chain store moves into your town,
right,
they're not going to support you in the same way that a family-owned business will.
No, not at all. And while we're on community, we're part of we're chatting by way of the HAYVN Hubcast. Yeah. I know you've been a supporter of HAYVN, and HAYVN's been a supporter of yours, community being that very, very key word. What advice would you give or share with other women entrepreneurs who are either in a family business and or in a, feeling like they're sort of striking out on their own, or maybe the things you wish you'd known that you would have shared with an entrepreneur community?
I would say that being a leader is very lonely. I think it's incredibly lonely. And I think I personally have struggled with a lot of imposter syndrome. And I think a lot of women do the same thing. A lot of other female CEOs that I know and founders talk about this. And something I didn't learn until recently was the importance of having a network. And that's been something incredible that I've gained through HAYVN, being a part of the HAYVN Hives group. It's been just an incredible group of women, and having people to lean on. It's great during the good times, but when it's rough times, the having a group of people that you trust to use as a sounding board is just I don't feel lonely anymore. And that's something I really did feel for the majority of the beginning of my career. So I am so, so grateful to have a network now. I
love that. I was like, and I know we've talked about it at different kind of events, and also they don't even have to be in your business necessarily. Sometimes it's helpful if they're completely out of your business to give you that objective view when you're sort of down in the weeds. Megan, thank you so much for your time. It's great to sort of catch up with you at this very exciting juncture in Palmer's history. If people are interested in learning more about connecting with you or learning more about Palmer's, where to get their chips or their favorite catering order, or I'm not sure when this is going to air, so we can't give deadlines for getting your catering orders in. What's the best way for people to connect and find you?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, palmersmarket.com. We're on everything.
Perfect. Well, thank you again for your time, and we look forward to learning more about your Stanford and beyond adventures.
Thanks for having me.
And that's another episode of the HAYVN Hubcast. Thanks for joining us. If you like what you listen, please give us a review, make sure you're a subscriber, and share with others you think might enjoy listening.
Thanks for listening to the HAYVN Hubcast, a place to learn what business leaders and owners are doing to navigate and grow in today's market. Please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. HAYVN is a co-working space and virtual community located in the heart of Fairfield County, Connecticut. HAYVN is a hub for business owners and professionals to connect, create, and get stuff done. Find out more about the HAYVN community online at hayvn.com. That's HAYVN.com. HAYVN Hubcast is produced by Sound Advice Strategies.